I want to give you some context and tell you a story. So, as you know, you've been hearing me talk about this thing I'm building in Boise. This Russell guy keeps buying all these old books, and he's freaking out about it. Now I'm building a library. A library. A lot of you guys know I'm building a 20,000 square foot library/museum for all my books. In the last 24 months, I've bought probably 8,000 or 9,000 books now. Spent over 8 figures on old first edition books. And you're probably thinking like, either Russell is crazy or he has a vision for something really cool. And so I want to tell you the vision. As I was going through all of the Napoleon Hill stuff, right? In fact, these are some first edition manuscripts that I was sent by the Napoleon Hill Foundation. They sent me manuscripts of books that haven't been published yet. As amazing as Outwitting the Devil is, Napoleon Hill wrote another book called Outwitting the Beast that nobody's seen. And I have manuscripts in my hand. And I've been going through all these things. It's fascinating. One of the things that Napoleon Hill tried to do, from the very beginning, he had a vision. He wanted to create a school for success. He knew that he was going to go and interview all of the most successful people on the planet, and he was going to write this philosophy, and he spent 20 years doing that, and then he wrote The Laws of Success. And The Law of Success was a hit. As the money started coming in, his first thing to do is, I'm going to go establish a school for success. And he bought this huge land and had a house on it, and he was going to be building out a school, and his whole vision for what he was going to create. And it was amazing. It was going to be the very first place, like a college that you could go to where you're not going to learn the stupid things that don't actually matter, but you learn true success principles to create the next generation of wealthy people in the world. He was so excited for it, and then shortly after he bought the estate and everything, he had the vision what he was going to create.
The tremendous crowds which you see gathered outside the stock exchange are due to the greatest crash in the history of the New York Stock Exchange in market prices.
That's when there was the Depression, and he ended up losing the home, losing the land, losing everything, and the vision was put on hold. He literally worked with the presidents of the United States trying to solve the Depression. In fact, he was the one that gave Franklin D. Roosevelt the quote,
that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Which changed people out of the Depression and started bringing back prosperity. And then shortly afterwards, when he wrote the book Think and Grow Rich, which was written at the end of the Depression to help give people faith and hope, and he wrote this book and it took off and it blew up. And then he decided, I'm going to go build a school of success. And he started working towards that again. And then the next trial in his life hit and he lost it all and he wasn't able to. And fast forward through the rest of his life, he kept trying to go back to that goal, kept trying to go back to it. And eventually he retired. And a little while later, he met W. Clement Stone, who was someone who had read the book Think and Grow Rich and built one of the largest insurance companies on the planet based on the principles.
This is W. Clement Stone saying, I feel healthy, I feel happy, I feel terrific.
W. Clement Stone and Napoleon Hill partnered together, got Napoleon Hill out of retirement, and then they started a company together teaching these philosophies again. And sure enough, right away, Napoleon Hill's like, how do we build this into a school? How do we, maybe it's a franchise, maybe we have schools all over the world. He kept trying to pursue this vision, but it never happened. And a couple of years ago when I started this idea, I started buying these old books and we bought the land to build the museum and the event center on, and all these things started happening. At first, the vision wasn't super clear, but I did know it was something related to that. The problem though with any type of school, it's like a physical school, is people have to come to the place. They have to come to Boise to go to physical school. They have to go to Ohio or wherever the school's at, right? To go and attend it, which limits you by geography and region, so many things. And if you really want to change the world, you can't create a school that's just in one spot. You have to create a school that's everywhere. And so I want you to imagine, it's the year 3000. And somebody decides they want to enroll in Success School. And so they enroll, and what happens, they get a box in the mail, they open it up, and there's these amazing VR goggles. He puts on these VR goggles, and as he puts them on, instantly he's transformed into an actual location in Boise, Idaho, where there's this huge event center, and there's a museum, and he walks in the front door, and he walks around and sees all of the first edition books from all the greatest minds of our time. And they can walk over and literally grab the book and start flipping through it and reading these books digitally. And they walk in the event center, and they see this amazing event center, they see the stage, and they sit down in one of the seats, and they pull out the equivalent of a TV guide, and they're like, oh my gosh, did you realize that Tony Robbins spoke here before he passed away? I want to watch that presentation. And they click a button, and in real time it pops up, and you see Tony Robbins in 3D in that event center, giving a 3-day event on his philosophy and life. And they have a chance to sit there and watch this thing. And then they can sit and look at the person left and right of them and who's watching the same thing, have conversations and dialogues, and go in the other room and have mastermind meetings and do this all virtually and take the glasses off. And that was one day in school. We're lucky that all of us here have benefited from the works of amazing people who came before us, right? We're able to, like Tony Robbins say, take a decade of someone's life. Someone spends a year of their life trying to figure out health or relationships or how to grow a business or whatever it is, right? They spend all this time trying to learn this thing, and then they write a book and they leave it behind. And a book is their legacy. It's their gift to us from everything they learned during their entire life. And that's what we are creating. is we're creating something where all the greatest thought leaders of our time will have a chance to leave a legacy behind for the future. And so that's what I'm creating. I know it's kind of crazy. The investment so far on my side has been insane. Just acquiring the books and the original manuscripts of all these things. A lot of my mission obviously is helping you as entrepreneurs, and most of you guys are the people who someday should be presenting in this library, sharing your philosophies on life, on health, on relationships, on whatever it is that you are the best in the world at. And that's what this event center is created for us, for our people, for the 1% crazy who are crazy enough to think they can change the world. Because as you know and I know, we're the only ones that actually can. And so that's kind of the vision of what's happening. Now, I want to take you guys inside the library to kind of show you what it looks like. And I keep calling the library, it's closer to a museum and an event center, but I want to transform you guys and show you inside so you can see what we're building. If you look at now, after 3 years of dreaming and visualizing, working with architects to build out all the plans, the event center, it's a 20,000 square foot building. Half of the building is a library / museum holding the most rare first edition books and manuscripts from all the greatest thought leaders of all time. And on the other side is an actual event room where we can stand on stage, we can present, we can teach, we can train, we can capture all the ideas that are worth capturing and hearing about. It's really a spot for people to come to have a chance to like get away from the world and to think and to share and to talk and to be around people who are like them, who think like them, who act like them, so that our visions can grow even bigger. So I want to walk you through some of the cool things that you'll find when you walk through the doors the very first time. One of my favorite things is this statue set that I had commissioned.
So these are like a resin right now, but I painted them to look like, you know, what they might look like in a patina. I just can't wait to have those at full scale. And looking up at it, it's gonna be, because you know, you'll be like this tall. He's 8 feet tall. That's gonna be awesome.
When I was first thinking about some brainstorming, I read the book Atlas Shrugged, and it talks all about the producers, the prime movers, the entrepreneurs of the world. They're the ones who are literally carrying the entire weight of the world on their shoulders. And it talks about what happens when society gets to the point where the government and outside things put so much pressure that it's no longer worth it for Atlas to continue to hold the world up, right? Well, he stands up and he shrugs and walks away. And that's kind of what this is Atlas shrugging and then walking away from the world. And you look like this is the progression of what can happen to entrepreneurs, prime movers. And my goal in everything I do in my business, you notice it from my books to the courses, the events, everything we do is all about supporting the prime movers, supporting those who are holding the weight of the world on their shoulders, because I don't want you to shrug and walk away. Your responsibility is great. The way you're changing your people's lives, I can't imagine what this world would be like without you. And so that's what this all symbolizes. We will have 9-foot versions of Atlas holding a 6-foot globe as a constant reminder of who this is for. It's for the prime movers, the driven, the people like you. After you get past the Atlas statues, then you'll have a chance to look in and see all of the books. My goal with this was like to try to find the history in these books, right? Again, manuscripts, like this is the first edition manuscript, an unpublished work by Napoleon Hill called The Secrets to Master Salesmanship. Like this is literally something he typed on his typewriter. It's all of the stuff. In fact, this is the first edition of his typewriter. Like Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil, these books written on this actual typewriter. Like those things are all in there. Dan Kennedy literally has signed in his will that when he or his fax machine dies, we'll have Dan Kennedy's actual fax machine in there. Like we're finding all the artifacts for business, for success, or personal development that mean a lot to us as the prime movers. All the first editions, like the pre-first edition of Laws of Success, written 3 years before the actual Laws of Success was published. And there's only 2 known copies in the world, and only 1 that's signed, and we have it. It'll be in the library. So much of what is published nowadays at seminars and events and in books is a regurgitation from this person, heard from this person, all the way down to like someone's quoting something from stage they read off an Instagram post and acting like they made it up. This is coming back to the beginning. The people that actually discovered this and how did they find that and what were they thinking, and like that's what this is all about. Instead of playing phone booth and learning from the influencers 30 levels deep, it's learning from the foundation, from the source of where these ideas first came from. Like imagine coming here and spending a week in the library and reading from these manuscripts. Like it's insane. It's magical. Like just even being in this room for me, it's like spiritual. Like it feels, there's a weird energy when you're here because you're just like, wow, these are, this is the life works of some of the greatest minds of our time who transformed the world, who opened up the ability for us to do all the things we do today. We knew that as we were building this, it couldn't just be, a normal room. We needed some really cool things. So in the center of the museum, when you walk in, there's a button you can push and the floor actually will open up and reveal a spiral stairway that you can walk down. And as you walk down, some of the most rare books will be down there, protected by from humidity and from heat and from everything down there. And as you walk to the bottom of the spiral staircase, there'll be one chair. and there'll only be one person allowed a time there to go and have complete solitude. You know, Superman would go and he'd have his fortress of solitude where he could study and he could learn, he could be by himself. And this is that for the prime movers. When you have a chance to come, you could have a chance to be in there with your thoughts, with the greatest works of our time. And so that's what's happening right in the middle of the museum. Come on now, so cool. And then the third thing is, obviously, everything happening in the museum is what was left behind by the greatest minds who came before us. And the event center now is about capturing the minds we have today. The reasons why I want this museum to have these amazing things is I want it to be able to attract the greatest minds of our time. You know, Tony Robbins or Jordan Peterson or Michael Jordan or Oprah or something. Say, hey, how would you like to come see the archives of the greatest success works ever created? And get them to come in to see these things, and then after they're there, put them on stage and have a chance to capture their philosophy on life and success and personal development and things that change their lives as well. And when we capture them, I don't want to just capture this in like a video, like how many videos are on YouTube? Like I want to make something special. The technology we'll be equipped in this room with, we'll be able to capture everything in 3D. So that way in 2,000 years from now, when somebody in Africa or Australia decides to sign up for our School of Success and they put on the VR goggles, they'll be able to see and experience Tony Robbins the way that we all had a chance to experience live, in person, 3D, real. We don't want this just to be another video on YouTube. We want this to be an experience. Because you know, like going to an event and having that experience can change your life. You can get value from other ways, but man, there's nothing like experiencing that live. And so the entire event center is going to be a spot to capture people in as real of life as possible so we can extend them, their life, and their legacy for forever. All right, that brings us down to step number 3. As you know, there's a hook, there's a story, and now I've got to make you an offer. I do this knowing full well that for most of you guys, this offer is not something that's going to be a good fit for you. But I do know that for some of you guys, this is the thing you're looking for. It's the reason why I've gone on the pursuit of this. Like the question I keep asking myself is, how do I live forever? How do I extend my legacy? Like I've spent so much time and energy. I don't want when I end that the work ends as well. I know that most of you guys who are here, the reason why you keep doing this is because you love what you do. This is a mission impact thing for you. And I've seen so many authors who had such a great legacy, and as soon as they passed away, it ended. There's very few authors who have outlived their lifespan. And somebody asked me in one of my Atlas meetings, said, why are you doing this, Russell? What is your purpose? And I said, the reason why, because I realized that if I can extend the life of these authors, then the vehicle I'll have to create to do that will extend my life as well. For some of you guys who see the vision that I do, and you want to extend your life and your legacy for forever, I want to give you an opportunity. It's a rare opportunity. It's only going to be here once, and then it'll be gone for forever. But it's an opportunity for you to become a founding member in the vision of what we're creating, and then by doing so, extend your legacy into the future forever as well.